Good morning, Fractal Effects team. Sorry, we're just having a little bit of technical difficulties. So if you're following along with us today, make sure you're doing a demo account, as this is for educational purposes only. We are not financial advisors, and this is not financial advice. Let's jump onto the charts. We have NAS on the left, US 500 on the right. Yesterday obviously was US elections, and the market jumped by one of the biggest Asia ranges, sorry, I should say, that I've seen in a very long time. We had a bullish confirmation, no real retracement, and we jump 5 standard deviations. Obviously, we have an upside expansion model, most likely going to set the or break the all-time highs today. London had a bearish confirmation very late. Retracement, we didn't break the range. And then New York, zigzag pattern. We're green across the board, just looking for a bullish confirmation, and again, most likely will break the all-time highs today. We might get a bullish confirmation just here. Let's see if it sticks. No other alerts have gone off across any of the other assets. So we start with the indices, and then as soon as we get an alert, we do jump over, take a look at what else is happening. About 1 minute 54 seconds left in this candle. Let's see if we keep that bullish confirmation if it goes away. So US 500 is below London's fair value gap. Whereas we've already taken London highs for NAS, showing divergence. So either NAS is going to pull US 500 all the way to the top, or US 500 is going to pull NAS down. Just going to have to wait and see. And again, no other alerts have gone off. So with London here, we got a bearish confirmation, and then it did go 1.5 standard deviations before retracing, so that would have been a complete move. There was no real retracement, but we're always aiming for one standard deviation between 1 and 1.5. That's our low-hanging fruit, and it was delivered. So the US election results are coming in today. Obviously, Trump won. So you should see some gesticulation back and forth. But most likely, because of the election, we might see all-time highs broken today in NAS. Just have to wait and see. No confirmation, obviously, on that last candle. Right now, closest fair value gap that we have, or fair value gap of interest, is this one. Let's change that color. Here's our 20 EMA. Again, we're green across the board. We're only looking for a buy. Upside expansion model. Days like this at least make it easy for us. It's either a buy or nothing. So if for whatever reason they drop the market from here, we would never have been interested in a sell anyways. Now we just got to wait for the right market conditions. Look for the confluence for a high probability trade. Today is Wednesday. Wednesday's footprint, if Tuesday hasn't already done it, which I'm sure because of this huge spike we had in Asia. Tuesday set the low. Let's see if Wednesday comes anywhere near filling in some of the gaps. A couple of 4-hour gaps left. Still continuing to push down. Getting some rejection now off the 20 EMA. Back at this fair value gap. Let's see if it sticks. Let's drop in a fib as well. $3 minutes, 16 seconds left in this candle. Right around 50%. So if we break past this fair value gap, we'll start looking down here. One minute, 30 seconds left. No other alerts have gone off. US 500, now red on the 5M. Let's see which one wins over. It's a pretty big divergence. We have not taken out London highs. Just been gesticulating here, so either they paused this market so NAS could take out more liquidity, take out the London highs, and then push them both down, or this will pull this up. We just got confirmation on oil, so we'll switch this one over to oil. So oil, a bit of a mixed bag. We are bearish on the daily, but we are bullish on the 1, the 5, and the 15. And again, Today is crude oil inventories. That news dropped. We have a downside expansion model where we have taken out Asia highs. Bullish confirmation. Nas continuing to push down. So there was no early retracement. So I'm still waiting for, even though this fair value gap's been filled in, looking to see if oil will come down here, meet the 20 EMA. We're above the 238 slowly. A little overbought here on the TDI. So I'm looking for that retracement. Getting some reaction now on NAS. One minute, 36 seconds. NAS trying to get back over this fair value gap. It's got a ways to go. We didn't quite touch the 20 EMA. Now we did. I'm sure we'll tap this fair value gap as well, maybe even the 50, and touch midpoint of the New York fair value gap. And we're only looking for buys on NAS. Keep in mind today is Not too dissimilar to yesterday. Yesterday was election day. Today, obviously, the results came out. So will be some chaotic movement in the markets. So we've touched that fair value gap. We've hit the 20. But we never did get that confirmation. So this is an early retracement. That means when we finally do get confirmation, it will move fast. And for whatever reason, if it just slips right through, breaks the bottom, that's a false stay. That protects us anyways. On oil here, our 20 is finally in our fair value gap. We want to see market come down, take out these lows, tap this 20, and a potential push up. We're already at 0.5 standard deviations. So from down here to 1 standard deviation at least gives us enough room for our 1 to 3. Let's drop in our calculator. More than enough. NAS bouncing off that fair value gap. Let's see if it rejects the 20 EMA as well. Keep in mind there is no confirmation yet, so we're still waiting for a confirmation. We're not looking to jump in here at all. NAS now pushing all the way through. Now we're sitting at the consequence encroachment of the New York gap. If it pushes through this, we could take out these lows. Now keep in mind, if we get a bearish confirmation, we're not interested until we see 1, 5, and 15 turn red. And even then, just the way that today is turning out, with our upside expansion, day after election, we will not be doing any counter trend trading. Today's the day where they could manipulate it. They could easily just drop it. No other alerts have gone off. Still just patiently waiting. And some gesticulation here now. Off the consequence encroachment, off the 50. Our 20 is now past the fair value gap of interest. That's Asia's fair value gap that we're seeing here. This red line. Asia, London, New York. Oil still driving up. Again, we're not interested out here. There was no early retracement. We're still waiting for one. Nah, still no confirmation. Still just sitting in the New York fair value gap. We're already at 0.5 standard deviations. What we don't want is we don't want oil to get all the way up to 1 standard deviation before we have that retracement. Now if it does that, the juice has been squeezed for the day. NAS slowly starting to push up from here. 2 minutes, 36 seconds left in this candle close. Oil still driving towards 0.5 standard deviations. NAS stuck right at the New York fair value gap. Take a quick look at US 500 just to see if there's been any movement there. So also sitting in its New York fair value gap. Now we got the 5 and the 1, both red. Let's see if it turns the 15 red as well and pulls NAS all the way down. Jump back to oil for now. Still driving towards 0.5 standard deviations. Oil still driving. Almost at 0.5 standard deviations now. Again, I'm not interested here. 20 EMA now pushed past that fair value gap. I'm going to mark out this fair value gap here, but majority of it is still outside the range. It would have to go below consequence encroachment. 120 is still down here. NAS pushing down even deeper into the New York fair value gap. Get rid of this. We're now at 71%. Somewhere between 61 and 79. That's the golden zone. So if this thing's going to turn around, there's no other fair value gaps down here. Still just patiently waiting. Still just gesticulating. Let's see if we can get retracement in the next 27 minutes. There are people that have been sitting out the last couple of days just because of the US elections. It is lower probability, that's why we weren't live yesterday. Please make sure you check us out on our Instagram, fractal.effects, to see our schedule. Anytime you don't see us online, or anytime we might be having any technical difficulties, we'll be posting on our stories. So just check out fractal.effects on Instagram and just click our story. We're already at 0.5 standard deviations. We just got a confirmation on GBP USD, so we're going to jump over there. I'm not sure if NAS is going to give us a confirmation before our time is over, but we do have alert set up, so if it does, we'll jump back. But for now, let's jump over to GBP USD. First time in a while that we're actually looking at a Forex pair. So we are red across the board. 1 and 5 are green. And we have a downside expansion model. So again, counter trend. We're below the 238. So even though we have a crossover, we want to make sure we are above the 238 to truly be bullish. Crossover alone isn't enough. So I will not be interested in taking a buy here today. We have a downside expansion model. It will be counter trend as we are bearish on the daily and the 4 hour, and we're still below the 238, even on the 5 minute. We'd have to get above this, and the 15 would have to be green. Now with your basic TradingView plan, you can set up multiple alerts, and as soon as one of them confirms, you just jump over, do some simple analysis, and you look for the highest probability trade right now. This is not a favorable condition. One last time, downside expansion model, counter trend trading, as we are red across the board except for the 1 and the 5, and we're below the 238. There's nothing about this that I want to buy right now. Oil, on the other hand, 1, 5, and 15 above, and we're above the 238. It's not really giving us a retracement though. We are still under 0.5 standard deviations. That's a good sign. That means it could still drop. Tap down here, where we could go for 1 standard deviation. We're at 1108. Still just patiently waiting. At any point, any of these other alerts go off, we will jump back onto the indices. Right now, we're just hoping oil comes back down. Now, if oil hits 1 standard deviation before it does that retracement, then the juice has been squeezed. We're not interested. We want to see it come back down, tap our EMA here, and enter this fair value gap. Then we want to see a rejection. Might even come down and sweep the lows here before pushing up. Starting to make some movement now. Remember, you got to avoid FOMO, just stay patient. Wait for the market to come to you and not chase it. So we've had no retracement yet, no early retracement. I want to see at least a touch of the 20 EMA. And then we'll decide. GBP USD. Again, strategy works across all Forex pairs, indices, precious metals, oil. Make sure you're watching all the videos in the Learning Hub so you understand the strategy, all the small nuances. It's not as simple as confirmation, jump in. This is a perfect example. Nothing about this market interests me. We have a downside expansion, red. The only thing that's bullish right now is this confirmation. Oil now moving into our fair value gap. Now let's see what it does here. It pushes down, hits this 20, sweeps this low. Let's drop in a fib. And use this low. Now slowly making its way towards that EMA. About 15 minutes left in our stream. Oil at the Asia fair value gap now, making its way towards the 20 EMA. We're getting some rejection off the consequence encroachment of this fair value gap. but I want to see it retrace a little deeper. This thing's been extremely bullish. I want to see at least move closer to the 20 EMA. Keep in mind it could just take off from here as well. We're at the top of the dealing range right here, this gray line. We're at the midpoint of this fair value gap. And we're bouncing off of Asia's fair value gap right here in red. GBP USD now retracing back to the 20. Not a market I'm interested in right now though. This would be a counter trend trade, low probability, especially on a day like today. Keep in mind any US related assets are going to be highly volatile today, so proceed with caution. Still just waiting. I want to see it touch this 20, otherwise I'm not interested. Again, just patiently waiting. Getting another red candle here. Let's see if it finally pushes down. We got about 10 minutes left. some movement. Still waiting for it to hit that 20. GBP USD. Back at this fair value gap. Even the 1 minute's now gone red. Oil slowly driving down towards that 20 now. Let's see if we can get into a high probability setup the next 10 minutes. Still no tap. Still just stuck there in the fair value gap. I want to see one tap down here. About 5 minutes left. We might not get it. But on a day like today especially, that's okay. A lot of chaotic movement in the markets in general. GBP USD bouncing off that 50 EMA, rejecting this fair value gap. Now again, in this specific example, even if we see that extension and we get to 1 standard deviation, this was not a high probability trade setup. Even a broken clock is right twice a day. We can't go back on the strategy itself. These rules are in place for capital preservation first and foremost. it would have to get over this 238. And again, the 1 and the 15 would have to be green in order for the counter trend to even exist, which it doesn't right now. Oil still taking its time. Keep in mind, whatever asset you're looking at, you want to make sure you're looking at it on all different time frames, 5, 1, 15. And right now, on a lower time frame, there's nothing that it's setting up to take a buy on. Just a whole bunch of gesticulation happening. Three minutes left. Please make sure you check us out on fractaleffects.com. Please hit that notification button so you know when we're live. Please subscribe and check us out on Instagram as well, fractal.effects, where we're always uploading new educational material, just market-related subjects, and also where our schedule is posted. Now we're getting some movement from oil. Again, I'm still not interested there. I would have liked to seen it tap this 20. Maybe the 20 will eventually make its way up here, and then I'll tap from there, but we're already past our high probability trade setup time. So that's our time today. We'll be live again tomorrow. Have a good rest of the day.